All right, guys. So, welcome to season 2, episode 18 of the CREW After Hours. And it's so after hours, we got a Jason. Oh my God. I hope he doesn't kill us. But we're all in different locations.
No, we're good.
Oh, look who it is. It is Vin Master. So he's going to go ahead and bring us into our topic number 2. So Vin, let us know what we're going to talk about. Take it away, brother.
Topic number deuce is something I think we all lived through in the early 90s. Nintendo versus Sega.
Ooh.
Yes. So we went from ATARI, last episode, as a family to Nintendo. Then Super Nintendo. Then I got the N64. GameCube. Wii, and so on. You know the whole story there. So, but all of my memories would be Nintendo basically, and then like a little bit of Atari. And I did have an Xbox, an OG Xbox, like Brian pointed out a little bit ago. But so my question is, I'd like to know if anyone ever had both. Well, we're gonna ask all of you guys, right? But because I never knew anyone that had both. But what's weird about that, and this is just a little interjection. Nowadays, you can have a PlayStation, you can have an Xbox, you can have a Switch. It seems like even the kids, they got them all anyway, right? So why is that? But anyway, player one, were you a Nintendo kid or a Sega kid? Mario or Sonic, which guy?
Oh God, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
That's really tough, Vinny. You got me on the spot.
Did you have both?
No, I did not have both. I had I was a poor kid. I had a Nintendo first, and then I got a TurboGrafx 16. And then after I got the TurboGrafx 16, I traded up my Nintendo with 50 games for a Super Nintendo with maybe 5 games.
Okay.
Somebody actually traded me. That was my first dibs into the Super Nintendo world. Beautiful. And I didn't get a Genesis till probably around maybe 94, 95, around there. And then I had them both, but by that time, all my friends were playing Sega Saturn and PS1. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would say I was a Mario kid. I was a Nintendo kid first. Mm-hmm. But I did play Sega at my friend's house. I always found it cool. I never same here. I never complained about it. I liked it too. And then later on, when Dreamcast came out, I really, really began to love the Sega brand. More than ever, wow,
Dreamcast was great. It really was.
But yeah, Nintendo at that time, bro, they were just ruling the competition. They were just amazing. RPGs like Final Fantasy III, Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger, the wrestling games. Earthbound, oh my God, Earthbound, Out of This World. It was just so many great games on there. The colors of the Super Nintendo was fantastic.
Yeah.
The stereo sound was ooh. So,
do you know when I got my first Sega Genesis?
When was that?
About 3 years ago.
Really?
Wow. That's how Nintendo we work. But I always played it at a friend's house, like you. We have a very similar story there. But I always envied that. Altered Beast, Sonic. Sega had some really good stuff.
Altered Beast was killer.
Yeah, it still is. So, yeah.
But don't forget though. Well, see, I like I said, I moved up the chain. So I had my Nintendo after my ColecoVision. Got it as a Christmas present, of course. Played Mario Brothers till New Year's Eve. But then I got my first Sega, and my buddy across the street had the Sega Genesis, or Master System, I should say. I was introduced to the Master System. I played a lot at their house, and then I got the Master System, and it had great games on it as well. But then the one thing I liked about Sega was as I got older, I was able to get rid of some of my Sega Master System and get the Sega Genesis, and then adapt the Sega Genesis with the CD player, which opened up a whole new genre.
Sega CD, yeah, sure.
With the CD, and don't forget, and then it brought back. They brought out games with characters that we knew from TV. So I forget. I think that it was that. I forget the name of the game, but all the girls are in a house. It's the girl from Different Strokes with like Corey Haim or Corey Feldman, and they had to set up
something
Night Trap or something.
Yeah, they brought it back.
I mean, we're like,
Switch has it.
We're sitting there and I'm playing. I'm like, what? There's a shower scene. Let her get eaten by the vampire. Let's see how this works. You know?
Yeah. I like shower scenes.
Yeah. So and then it had Star Wars on Sega CD.
It did, yeah.
You know, and those games were great. So I like the fact that Sega, you were able to expand. Now the Dreamcast and all, I never owned those. I played those in the barracks in the army. Guys had different systems and stuff, so that's how I was introduced to it.
Sure.
From like I said, from Sega Genesis, I ended up getting the PlayStation, and then eventually my first Xbox. And I still love that. I mean, even getting, you know, because I wasn't well off as everybody else as well. So when I got the first PlayStation, I must have played that demo disc for a week and a half before I bought my first game.
Yeah.
You know, and it had all the different little demos on there. And
I had an Xbox demo disc too that came with some magazine that I was playing. What the hell was on that? I don't know, some mini games and some like mech game. I remember, was it Mech Warrior or something like that? But it was.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Mech Warrior.
That's why
it was a demo.
That's another topic to talk about at a later date, and I want to make sure you're on for that. Is the one thing as gamers that I don't see anymore is the old school gamer magazines that we had. You know what I'm talking about?
Online now.
Really
I used to love reading Electronic Gaming Monthly back in the early 90s, and almost after Street Fighter 2 came out, almost every cover was Street Fighter 2. It was crazy. That was like so awesome. But
all we have left now is Game Informer.
Oh, Nintendo Power. And then there was
those were beautiful. Those are golden.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I got Game Pro here somewhere too. That's
Game Pro.
Here. What about this?
Game Pro was another one.
Here we go.
Vinny, you remember the rating system for Game Pro? That was so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, old school Game Pro. Wow, yeah.
You remember some of the accessories that they used to come out with? So we always know Nintendo had the Power Glove, right? Do you remember Zaxxon 3D for Sega Master System, where you had to wear the 3D glasses that were plugged into the?
No. Plugged in.
Playing Zaxxon.
That sounds awesome.
I know Rad Racer had a 3D glasses, but it never worked for us.
Yeah.
I never got to see it.
I'll tell you something about that. If you didn't have, back in the 90s, early 90s, if you didn't have a certain console, you most probably one of your friends did.
Of course.
So my friend had a Genesis. My other friend had a Master System. So that was my first experience with one. I used to go to his house, and that was the first time I saw that if you didn't put the cartridge in, there was a built-in game inside the Master System. That was like so cool. And he had
what game was it? I forgot what it was.
It was usually some military.
It was Burger Time. No, I'm just.
I always said to myself,
I ate it, so it wasn't Burger Time.
I always said to myself back then that the government used these systems to train military, because every game
the Last Starfighter
was the Last Starfighter.
Yeah. That's it. No, there's some truth to that.
As a matter
Look at
of
how
fact,
popular Call of Duty has been. It's been like the number one selling game for 20 years? Besides Madden? Like there's something to that.
To tell you a funny story, when we were in basic training, guys who couldn't shoot or couldn't make the targets on the firing range with their M16s, they had to play duck hunt for an hour to get used to pulling the trigger on sandbags. Like they were in the prone position playing duck hunt.
Get the hell out of here.
That's what we had it set up. They would make them train on duck hunt and then go back out in the range and qualify.
So what you're saying is a player one is already a trained killer. We just don't know it.
He might be. But those were, see, that's what I'm saying. Back then, games had accessories. I mean, you didn't just play duck hunt. You played gumshoe. Remember Gumshoe where you were the side scroll, you had to shoot the guys to get them to jump
Hogan's
over?
Alley.
Hogan's Alley.
That is one of my favorite Nintendo games of all time. Forget about Duck Hunt. Hogan's Alley.
What accessories do the game consoles have nowadays? Not a damn thing.
Maybe the virtual aspect.
Virtual.
Yeah, that's about it.
The Super Scope 6.
Yeah, for Super Nintendo, sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Sega had a lot of crap
The
like that
U-Force.
too. Sega had a lot of weird shit.
Oh, really?
They had the didn't they have the Menacer or
Dude, you had the track. Yeah. What was the pad called for Nintendo?
Yeah,
it was like Twister.
Pad. Yeah, I got
Power
that
pads.
over there. Yep.
I mean, they were just.
I had that for my 10th birthday. Yeah.
The only systems that had as many accessories as consoles was computers, and that was only if you were playing flight simulators or driving simulators.
Yeah.
Then you would buy, like, I knew guys that had like the pedals and the steering wheel that would plug into their computer.
Oh yeah.
Or even now, I know guys that fly.
When me and
the CEO of my company actually has 3 monitors and a whole setup because he flies now, so he has Flight Simulator just on there the whole time.
Yeah, well, they do that too. Also, a lot of guys that fly the remote control planes and helicopters, they sell kits that you can train yourself on your computer or TV as a simulator before you take your $3,000 little mini helicopter out and crash it. You know what I mean?
Speaking of interesting accessories, like when me and GB were little kids, like we would play all the time together, and we would always talk about the next girl we were gonna date. And it never worked out because me and GB could never get any girlfriends. So we would just play Nintendo all the time, constantly. It was like an orgasm. And his mom comes home one day and she goes, "Okay, guys, you can't play no more." And she brings out the Nintendo lock chip. And she put that thing on the Nintendo and she locked that thing and we could never play again.
Yeah, my mom actually did that to my Nintendo. You cover it and you can't take a game in or out. You can't. It just blocks the whole thing.
It was like right there.
So it was a lock to put around your cock. That's what it was. So you didn't use it anymore.
It was a Nintendo chastity.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I'd be player 1. Look at him.
No, but that was for real. It was a lock that went over the Nintendo.
Yeah, it was real. They put a lock on his cock.
Yeah.
Look it up. No, my mom actually got that. My twin brother and I came home from school one day on 4th grade. I would go, "What the hell is this?"
I was at GB's house when it happened. We couldn't play Nintendo anymore, so we.
I know. And when you left this house, you had a lock on your cock.
Yeah, you should have kept your pants on.
No, we were just after that. We were just watching the real Ghostbusters 24 hours.
Ooh, hey, that's a good cartoon.
We recorded on VHS and just watched it over and over again.
Well, you watched it because thank goodness for the lock on your cock.
Yes.
Let's just go sideways so quick.
I love it. Hey, this is my favorite magazine I still have. It's the Donkey Kong Country Game Pro edition. Look how thick these motherfuckers were. Look at this.
Yeah, man, full of pictures and the images were awesome too. They spoke so much about the game and reviewed it so much. It's like, it was so awesome. It's like, I want to play this game. I want to try this game.
Remember when they used to put the maps in the back of the Nintendo for like?
Wow, that's cool.
Samurai Showdown, Earthworm Jim. Wow.
No,
like
this
is 3 times the size of a Nintendo Power.
With this craziness going on with the retro video game market, I could only imagine those magazines probably went up.
Yeah. Well, I'm hearing that it was a scam type of thing, so it might not actually go up.
Have you guys watched the video?
Money laundering. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what happens when you go to a museum and somebody buys
the
banana stapled to a whiteboard for $35,000. Money laundering.
You got it.
No, that actually happened. That's why I was like, what?
Freaking
I think they were doing a lot of that happens. We just think something's being sold, and it's who knows, the mafia's behind it. If they're watching,
anyway,
we're good.
Yeah, but anyway, so I guess it's my turn. So of course I grew up playing Coleco and 2600 Atari 2600. The first system I actually had was a 2600 for myself. I guess it was a hand-me-down. My mom was a single parent, so she couldn't really give us a lot of stuff. And then I had gone to the Dominican Republic for like a year, from 1986 to 87. And when I came back, my cousin had a Nintendo. It was the first time I ever saw a Nintendo. In 1980, I want to say the end of 88, maybe? Yeah, 88. I actually got my first Nintendo system. It was for Christmas. And I remember, I know this sounds weird, but I remember opening it up and the smell of the system with the styrofoam and the plastic and everything. I still remember that. Oh, takes me back. And then of course I had a cousin that actually had the Master System. So we played a little bit of that. He was so good playing Shinobi on it. Mm-hmm. And then when Super Nintendo came out, that same cousin actually came over to my house and I got to play it. And the first game I played was Final Fight. We're pissed off. There was only a one-player game. That was one of the games I used to play in the arcade or in the pizza shop when I used to go pick up a pizza after we went to Blockbuster to get a game. But actually, before that, the year before that, when Genesis came out, I have some cousins in Jersey where their father, wasn't rich, but he had money. He got them a Nintendo, and I was the first time I ever saw more than 20 games in a room by myself, you know? And that's where I first played Castlevania and Double Dragon and stuff. But anyway, they got a Genesis, they brought it over, and it was my favorite arcade game at the time, because just a few blocks down, after school, I used to go to this one place, and I would play like Outrun, Golden Axe, and it was a video store, and Altered Beast, and I got to play Altered Beast at home, and I was like, oh, this is so awesome! So it's the first time I got to play Genesis, but we were always so used to playing Nintendo that we wanted a Super Nintendo, and of course, my mom being a single parent, we got a Super Nintendo, and I want to say 92, 93.
Yeah, we got ours late.
That was the first time.
Yeah, no doubt.
So we got that, and I didn't get a Genesis, but the same cousins that had a Genesis had both Genesis and Super Nintendo. You know, so they had it.
There were some people that had them all, but it was rare.
Yeah, because a lot of people couldn't just say, "Hey, let's buy more than one system."
And a lot of parents probably just didn't put up with that shit anyway. Like they just
you
have
a
Nintendo.
Already.
There was only
Nintendo,
two.
you need a Genesis.
Don't forget, there was only 2 screws on the back of the TV that the switch went on.
Yeah. There was no RF switches or whatever. Yeah,
we had what was it? They had
adapters.
We had that one switch for TV and game, and the 2 little screws that plugged in this TV there.
For the ATARI.
That's back when I don't know about you guys.
I have one of those here.
In my house, most of our TVs were furniture, so it wasn't like a little TV you moved around. It was like a big piece of furniture.
Yeah, my uncle had one like that with a smaller tube. That's how we played Pitfall, but sitting down on the floor because it was on the floor. You know.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
But those RF switches, man, go to channel 3 and then just switch it. Whoop, and it flips it to the system.
Oh.
Let me see. It's a little black box with some like silver trimming.
Yeah, I got one, but it's stuck on the back of an old TV over here. So I know what you mean though. It was great. You just flipped the switch.
So I was gonna mention, recently I kind of shared with you guys on the TGA chat and about the Mario scam that's going on.
Yeah.
And with Heritage Auctions and WADA, supposedly this guy, his name is Carl Jobs. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but he did a friggin' really 60-minute kind of documentary on this company, and it's pretty crazy what he reported, and it's a big deal. It's being it's gonna be on some news sites. It's already come up on some news sites, and it's just like the inflation of video games that have gone up because of what these companies are doing with the grading. And I watched a Metal Jesus video recently, and he talks about it, and he had a good point. Like he said, he went to like a yard sale, and he says that it's affecting it everywhere, because he said himself, I could care less about sealed games because I don't collect them. But he said that he went to like a yard sale, and the lady had some retro games, and she says, oh yeah, these are, I have the Mario game on the PlayStation. So it's a lady that didn't know nothing about video games, obviously, because there's no Mario on PlayStation. and she was like, "Oh, well, I want this much money for it," and it was like, an absurd amount for a game that's a common, because she thought that, she said to Metal Jesus, she said, "Well, a Super Mario sold for $2 million, so now I want this much for my game," and now that's happening everywhere. All these game prices are going up, and it's kind of like, wow, that's kind of messed up. So
yeah,
I think me and Vinny are in the same boat. We collect for the love of it, and we love the nostalgia and just having these things because they're so meaningful to us.
yeah.
And it just like brings back a lot of memories from our childhood, and just having them there is, I don't know.
I think that's a good thing to go into another episode. Again, if Vinny, if you're going to be able to come back on a couple of times, I'm interested in knowing how you guys determine the value of the games that you're buying or selling. So it's a little bit different than people that, like, I started watching people who collect baseball or different type of sports cards. I got comic books for my son. So there's no real company out there where you can send your game, your Pitfall game, into and say, okay, grade this for me and put it in a glass case, and then say, oh, this is a PSA 10. So I'd be interested in finding out, when we have more time, how you guys determine what is, I mean, obviously that one probably wanted like $3,000. I know the story you're talking about the guy who sold the thrift store, donated his game and it sold, a guy bought it for like $2 and then sold it. But I mean, those are few and far between. So I would like to know how you guys determine, oh, this is a common, this is not, this is worth more, and
That's really weird now, though, because of what, like the market. There's a lot of, also, besides like the scams driving everything up and ruining the even commons aren't cheap anymore. Would be,
well, like, what do you consider
there's
to
a
be
lot
common?
of resellers. Like, there are people who just buy everything,
right,
and then resell. So it's getting a little tough to find. I don't know if Player One feels this way, but just to even find stuff.
Well, what's considered like what is considered like a common game versus a non-common game?
I'll give you a perfect example, like Super Mario Brothers 3. That was a pack-in game at one point, and when I started, I've always had a collection, but like 3 or 4 years ago, I really started buying some stuff. And it was really good to buy then too. But back then, Super Mario Brothers 3 would you say that was made like an $8, $10 game, Javier?
Yeah.
Look at it now. There's no reason that game should be as expensive as $20, $25. That's because of the popularity of the title and the way everyone's reselling now and the scams. Like, it's getting out of control. And there may be a crash coming. That's another topic. Like, the value of all these games
I'll tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, and this is, nobody knows this story. Maybe Chris knows a little bit. I kind of affected the market a little bit. I bought like.
You bastard.
No, wait. I'll tell you the truth.
Son of
I bought like maybe like 20 copies of Max Payne, and I ended up selling them on eBay for about $200 a piece, maybe.
But see, I don't find anything wrong with that.
No, wait. But hey, listen, I'm a collector, but if I can find something to resell to compensate me for what I spent, perfect. So I don't care much about sealed games. I have a couple of them in my collection. I'll keep those, but I'm not seeking those. I like finding carts, and like Vinny, I like finding carts and maybe complete box copies, but they don't have to be sealed. No, I actually like to play them. So not too long ago, I had one copy of Max Payne left, and I ended up trading it with a guy for Super NES Castlevania and some other games. It kind of like, it evened out, and it was because we went off the pricing of the price charting. And when he went and looked it up, he saw all the Max Paynes that sold for $200, and that's what it was worth.
Yeah. So I think they go by whatever eBay's getting. Am I not? Yeah, it's just whatever the average is.
The average, yeah.
That's the first place they look.
Because you only buy games you have systems for to test, right? I mean, you're taking a crapshoot.
I have very few games that I don't have the console. Like, I mean, like maybe 1 or 2 that I don't have the console for.
Right,
I mean,
that's something important to tell people. Don't like just collect them. Like me, I wouldn't mind collecting them just to have them. Will I find the systems again? Maybe not. But
well, they make clone consoles for that. If you don't really want the system, like I was talking to Javier about, I have a clone console that plays NES, Super NES, and Sega Genesis. Great trio of consoles.
I saw that.
It outputs to 720p. So
you'll have to send me the link for that.
Fucking awesome! Like I absolutely love it. Now I have the old consoles too, but I don't have to hook them up, and it's all one spot. It looks beautiful. It's great for game capture. So you're straight through the HDMI. You're not converting. But I don't do a whole lot of emulation anymore. I used to, because it is what it is. But sometimes you have to emulate.
Emulators are for freaks and fornicators. They're not the real.
Look at that.
Well, with that being said,
I'm poor. I just emulate when I want to play.
All right, we got about 5 minutes left.
Emulation's fine with me. It really is. I had a lot. I have an OG Xbox. I think Player One has one too that has it's what do you call it? Unlocked or whatever, and it plays burn discs.
Hard modded, right?
Yes, exactly. And
it's got the toggle.
Tons of emulation on that. I mean, that's an emulation beast.
So
you know what I still have? I gotta see if I have it right here. I have the CD, or it was a DVD, the CD that you use in Dreamcast that you run first, and then it goes.
Oh yeah.
Stops. You open it. You put a copy, a burnt game. You can play it.
And you never had to touch the hardware.
I remember when people never paying.
Yep.
And the game I used to play a lot too was, I think it was a PlayStation. PlayStation. I used to be able to do that swapping trick. I used to know by the sound of it to play the burnt games. Because we read the little barcode inside. It was Bust a Groove.
Bust a
little
Groove,
dancing game.
Yeah.
They're dancing.
Oh, Bust a Nut.
Oh, that's you all day, good.
I remember people hard mod. They would pay anywhere from $80 to $100, and they had a toggle switch because you used to have to toggle the emulation off if you wanted to play online.
Oh.
If you left it on and tried to play a burn game online, they would catch you and close your Xbox account. So you had like this little toggle switch that people would hard mod in there.
Oh my goodness.
And other guys would just make hard drives that they would just plug in and play off the hard drives.
Yeah.
Actually, right now the new Xbox Series S and X, if you put it still into developer mode, you can actually emulate games on there.
Oh,
nice.
Remember Star Fox?
Hell yeah.
Man.
I wanted to say something.
But the
I got a funny story about. Funny story about the FX chip.
I wanted to say something.
Back in the day, my cousin, my brother, and I would just like we would have sleepovers, and we'll come up with a system. Made up a system where you can play all the old school, all the games that we used to come up with ideas for the like Thundercat, He-Man, and stuff like that. How we have it, we'll have a way to play up to 6 players called the more player pad or whatever, and we wanted to call it the Super FX system. One day I have a what do you call it, Nintendo Power, and this is like probably a month after we made that up. And I look at the back of the Nintendo Power, I see Star Fox goes with the Super FX chip. I'm like, that's our name. It was crazy.
That is crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Player one,
was
go.
the first.
I want to say something because I know we have like a minute or two. First and foremost, this was the biggest surprise ever. I talk to Vinny all the time on TikTok, and we talk on chat every day about video games for like the last 2 years. So
he don't answer our phones.
This is like the best birthday gift, early birthday gift, whatever present. Bogy, thank you. So Vinny, man, so
I didn't tell you about it.
I'm gonna do the plug-in for the channel right now.
Yeah.
Guys, go to the Retro Grab Bag Show on YouTube, Retro Grab Bag Show / Vincent Tobia. I believe that's the channel. You can find it right there, or just type in on the search box, Retro Grab Bag Show. Some of my favorite videos there are the short plays, The other videos that I love there are the Strange Games volumes. You gotta check those out.
Yeah, there's more of those coming out. There's gonna be more of those coming.
The retro top 5, and also the old Garage Band series that he did back in 2011. Those were great. I'm a big fan. My favorite YouTubers: Metal Jesus, Vincent, Tobia, and I'm saying that with like all my heart. You are one of my favorite channels. You're an amazing creator. I don't know why YouTube throttles channels down that deserve to be over 1 million views or whatever, or 1 million subscribers.
Well, I don't know about that.
It's ridiculous. No, it really is, because you.
So let me get this right. So you're the fan.
You're the man. You have great content on YouTube. You have great content on TikTok, and it's just very enjoyable. And congratulations.
You have great ads.
Subscribers coming right up.
Yeah.
You're gonna get there, brother. You're gonna get there. Just stay. Keep doing.
I do have a 6-pack. It's in the fridge.
I'm just laughing here that T.C.A. after we didn't make the cut.
That was number 3, I think. That was his 3rd after Alucard.
Yeah, now that he goes to church, or anybody with Jesus in their name is his favorite channel.
Yeah, thank you, Player One. We're on a mini hiatus from YouTube. There are more short plays coming. I'm gonna get Joe back in here for our kind of. I don't know if you noticed, we also have kind of like a podcast thing, but it's not really a podcast. It's just like a 10-minute conversation that I usually have Joe right next to me here. But the Strange Games, I'm glad you mentioned that. I have 2 of those written already. I just gotta record it all, right? You know what goes into that, but yeah. I think I told you, Player One, October is when we are shooting. I'll talk to you about this as well, Bogy. Yeah, we're coming back, and I think in October. It's with like the full YouTube once a week thingy. You know how that.
I think we should have Joe on the show here with you.
Here's the thing about that. I mentioned this to him on Wednesday or Thursday, and he said without a doubt. So if you guys are cool with that, he'll do it.
Sure.
Oh,
more the merrier.
Yeah.
Tell him 2 weeks from today. Get him a pineapple and a Long Island iced tea.
Video Game Magazine. Yeah.
I think that would be. Well, we could talk about that after. We only have a couple minutes. We'll talk that in the after hours.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Bogy. I want to interject here because I love all this conversation that everybody has to contribute. So now is Bogy's turn to share a little bit about my experience from what Vin went ahead and said over here for us. So from the Atari 2600, I really enjoyed a lot of the games that we played in that time, and my next game system didn't happen until PlayStation 1. But between that, I had a best friend that had the Nintendo. So, I played a lot of those Nintendo games in between. And, that was very enjoyable. Now, when I got to the PlayStation, when it originally came out, the PlayStation 1, I remember some of the games that I really enjoyed was Driver 1.
Oh, yeah.
The aesthetics of how you control a car throughout, this city of, a city of driving, and you can get out of the car eventually, and the interaction with, other people within the game was incredible. Another game that PlayStation 1 I really enjoyed was also Metal Gear Solid. Oh, yeah. And that was one of the first games that I really completed all the way through. Because a lot of the games, I played them, for a few, just like the gameplay. But that Metal Gear Solid, I went from the beginning to the end. It took a while, but I got to figure out, how to get from one level to the next level. So that was a lot. That was really enjoyable. So that was my kind of experience from jumping from one of those game consoles to the next here. So
don't forget, Bogy, don't forget our favorite game we used to play together on the PS1, Cooking Mama.
All right, so Vin, go ahead and take us away. So give us a recap here on your feelings of the way all our game systems have moved from, one system to another. So we can go ahead and conclude this topic number 2.
That's right. So both topics kind of came to a head. We all started, it sounds like, in the golden age of home consoles, leaving the arcade and coming home to Atari 2600 and ColecoVision.
Yeah.
And we all kind of met now. And that's the whole journey behind that. And that's what I like about how the consoles have just evolved, and so have we. We were born in a good time to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as the home consoles. So that's, thank you for having me on and hitting these two topics head on. As you can see, when we did talk about Nintendo versus Sega, we went way into a bunch of which is exactly what should happen, because there was a lot going on there. Even Player One mentioned TurboGrafx 16. Like, we used to rent that, and that's another one. And there was the 3DO, and then there was Hess mentioned I think like the Sega Saturn, and then the Dreamcast. There's just so much. So yeah.
All right. So before we go, in honor of Jason, on three, we're all gonna say our top 3 favorite horror icons without thinking. 1, 2, 3. Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers.
Yep. Agreed.
Go, guys, go.
Okay. Suck my dick, and that's it.
Kill girls.
What?
Bogy.
Glitch.
Kill Girls was the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Oh, it is pretty bad. Yeah.
Haven't seen it.
But you don't.
Nice.
You'll have nightmares.
Linda Blair.
Huh?
I seen that mask in a video on Retro Grab Bag Show, I think. Haven't I?
All right.
You probably have.
Let's go ahead and finish this off, because I'm pretty sure it's a little over 30 minutes. So we can. Oh, that's a great angle right there.
Yep.
But so let's go ahead and finish this season 2, episode 18 of the CREW After Hours, and we definitely had a lot of great interaction here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope the fellows here that tuned in and actually went into the Zoom call enjoyed our mystery special guest that I've been touting for quite a few weeks here. And so we're going to go ahead and start off with our sign-off. So, JFEW.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching T.C.A. only on YouTube.
All right, Sgt Hess.
Yeah, Lulu's. Yo, that is the kid from Coco.
It is. That's right. GB.
Oh, it is? Who you going to call?
Who you going to call? We got Vince.
Remember, watch T.C.A. and always play hard.
Nice. And this is your man, Captain Bogy, saying, "Nuff said."